Hey, you guys can help us out here because we forget that sometimes Bert Show storylines are open-ended. And then we just go and we do the show and we forget about it. And if you guys hit us up at thebertshow.com, what we do on Thursdays is we do follow-up Thursdays. We take your email, then we do the homework on it so we can give you guys some closure. And in this case, it was Megan Fitz who hit us up and say, hey, Bert Show, love y'all. Last October, a woman reached out to you guys. She'd been engaged for 6 months and her husband wanted 2 best men, one of which was his cousin.
Oh, yeah.
She did not want his cousin to be the best man in her wedding because he was a basic boosh. That's what she wrote. Whatever ended up happening, can you do a follow-up Thursday on it?
Why, yes, Megan. Yes, we can. All right, for those that may not remember the story, after being engaged for 6 months, she and her fiancé decided it's time to start planning the wedding. First thing on their list was wedding party. Her fiancé wanted his cousin and former roommate to be his best man, but she was against his cousin being best man for several reasons. He's a cheater, obnoxious, heavy drinker. She wanted to veto his decision. The men of the Bert Show said that he should let her have the veto. Kristen mentioned that if roles were reversed, this would be a major problem. So did her fiancé let her veto his decision?
All right, first of all, let's rank them. Cheater, obnoxious, and heavy drinker. Which is the worst offense for a best man?
For a best man?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think heavy drinker would be the worst because if you're at the reception, you got an open bar, you're going to drink too much and make a fool of yourself.
I think obnoxious goes along with heavy drinking.
Yeah.
So heavy drinker, number one, obnoxious, and, cheating at the wedding day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going obnoxious.
Obnoxious.
Obnoxious is one for me. Heavy drinker, too.
All right.
All right. Well, got it.
Maybe we're focusing on the wrong thing. All right. Who's got the follow-up?
I got it. Well, where do I even start with this update?
How about the last thing you told us?
That's a really good place to start.
I think so, too.
Mm-hmm. After a lot of arguments and going back and forth, I eventually gave in and allowed my fiance's cousin to take on the role of best man.
Allowed.
I didn't like the idea, but my fiance was overjoyed to have his cousin be a part of our big day, and I was just ready to stop arguing about it. However, as time went by, it became clear that this wasn't the best decision. New Year's Eve, of all nights, was when things really came to a head. My fiance's cousin got drunk, as he often does.
It's New Year's Eve.
But he started acting like a complete a-hole.
It's New Year's Eve.
He ruined the night for everyone, and it was just a huge mess.
It's New Year's Eve.
Well, now we're moving on, KK, because this is the next morning.
Okay.
My fiance realized that he needed to put his foot down and limit this guy's role in our wedding. So he approached his cousin and told him that he wanted him to step aside as the best man.
Hey, that's a tough combo right there, man.
Wouldn't want to do that.
Well, if he had listened to her in the first place, he wouldn't be in this position now, would he?
I mean, is that something... Sidebar here. So, is that...
Woman's always right. Yes, move on.
Is that something that's even, discussed? And is that one that has to be approved by both parties? Like, I'm assuming when my fiance comes up with her maid of honor, I don't get a vote on that.
No.
I mean, it's like whoever you want up there, and vice versa as well. And I certainly wouldn't have somebody up there that she's not down with to begin with anyway.
I feel in this instance, hopefully, if you're getting married, hopefully the two of you are on the same page and are surrounding yourselves with people, especially your best friends, that are somewhat, like-minded and bring out the best in you. So you would want them up there, right? That's what you hope for each other. And I would never tell my husband who should be his best man, and he would never tell me who should be my maid of honor. However, if there is somebody that is a part of their life and they've been there forever and they hold on to them for almost obligation more so than anything, and yes, this is a difficult person, but you love them in spite of their faults, I do feel like everybody's entitled to one veto.
What?
Yeah.
A one veto guest in a wedding?
Yeah.
This is very, very cutting edge.
Is this,
And that is something I am not.
can you only veto if you believe the person may actually damage the wedding?
Yes.
So you can't veto based on you just not liking some
Correct.
things? Okay,
yes.
got it.
You have to
That makes sense.
foresee, because of his over drinking and if there's a potential for somebody to ruin the wedding, not necessarily the ceremony, but the reception, and cause a scene and take away your sparkle and your shine, I think you are within your right to throw up the veto card.
I can't even imagine a couple saying like, hey, before we put the list together, we both have one veto. Because whoever suggests that already knows who they're going to use that veto card on.
Probably. But here's the thing, like going into it, I think this is a rare occasion because going into it, there's not one person I would have vetoed out of Bart's friends. Not one. And there's not one friend he would have vetoed for me. So I think this is a rare occasion. But if there is somebody who is going to potentially ruin your wedding, you are well within your right to protect your day.
Oh, damn.
Okay.
All right.
Ain't mad at it.
Okay. I'm going to have to chew on this. We might have to circle back to that one tomorrow.
Okay, fine.
The one veto wedding guest rule. Okay, let's chew on it.
I would love to know, and we can also ask listeners to call up with their vetoes. And it doesn't even have to be like a person. It could be a guest. It could be like, what did you veto at your wedding that your spouse really wanted, but you were like, hail to the nah?
Okay.
So he approached his cousin and told him that he wanted him to step aside as the best man. His cousin was not pleased, obviously. They had a huge argument, and to this day, they are not on good terms. It's been a difficult situation to navigate, but I'm just grateful that my fiance was able to see what needed to be done and make the necessary changes. Looking back, I just can't help but think about how much smoother things would have been if I hadn't given in. But at the same time, I'm proud of my fiance for taking charge and doing what needed to be done for our big day.
That was her way of saying, I told you so. That is a unique way of saying, I can't help but think about how much smoother things would have been if I hadn't given in.
Exactly that. The wedding planning has continued, but I'm just hoping that the cousin drama doesn't impact the rest of our preparations.
All right, George here says this happened in his marriage. His wife vetoed his best man. What's up, George?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Good. I appreciate you calling. So you got vetoed, huh?
I didn't. My best man did. So I have two guys that I consider truly my best friends in the entire world. One of them, he drinks too much. I drink too much. You know, blase, blase. When we get together, we're, you know, it's just one of them things. We're going to tie one on.
It's trouble.
And my buddy, or my other best friend, Zach, we call him the smart friend. He's an engineer. And every now and again, I'll get him to drink too much, too. But normally, he's Norway. You know, he's very,
Like
very
Sweden.
Switzerland.
neutral.
Okay. Yep, got it.
It's its own country, guys.
Well, sorry, I misspoke. But yeah, my wife was like, "Nah, yeah, Bo can't be your best man because if he's your best man, you're going to show up to the wedding drunk." And I was like, "You're probably right." Blase, blase. And so, long story short, Zach was my best man. Bo actually drove us to the wedding. He was sober. Me and Zach were not. We arrived to the wedding in the back of a jacked up Silverado, standing on the tailgate.
Sweet.
In true redneck fashion.
Awesome.
And so yeah, that's the story of how my wife vetoed my best man.
Makes sense. I mean, can you blame her? I mean, you're lucky you didn't get vetoed.
I was about to say, it might have been you.
I'm just curious.
Hell, it could have been.
I'm just curious, George, where are you from?
I'm from Bleckley County, Georgia.
Okay.
I feel like I just want to sit around a campfire with fire pit and drink with you.
Oh, you'd be a blast to hang out with.
That's all we did. That was our entire bachelor party. Was we sat around a campfire while I was cooking the Boston butts for the wedding.
I love that.
All night long, we just drank.
George, you'll love this. The only two things that I've asked my fiance for in the wedding are I want my feet in the sand when we say our vows, and there has to be a fire pit right next to where we are getting married so we can all hang out at the fire pit.
Heck yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about.
I appreciate you calling,
Get you
George.
a couple cold Modelo's, you're in the game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, thanks for calling. I appreciate it. And it's Switzerland. It's not Sweden.
That's what I said.
Oh, I said Sweden.
Yeah, I said Switzerland.
Okay.
And I thought you guys were trying to say Norway was in those countries.
No.
That's why I was like, what?
It's neutral.
Yes, I get you.
Switzerland is the neutral country.
The Bert Show.
Like what you just watched, you can get more of The Bert Show on your favorite podcast platform. Wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find us. I don't know what any of these buttons do, by the way.